I'm talking to Professor Normon Billingham from Sussex University. Thanks for coming in, Normon. I remember a few years ago you told me a story about how computers, because they've got a hot processor in their circuitry and polymers circuit boards, could be a sort of incubator for bacteria.
Yes, that was an interesting little project that we did. It came about because I was approached by an industrial company, a young man, well, actually about my age, guy in an industrial company, who was an expert in vibration damage to electronics.
Right.
And he'd got very interested in what happens when electronics are exposed to high temperatures and humidity.
Right.
And so we actually did a 3-year PhD project looking at the effects of moisture on electronic components and electronic circuits, which was quite interesting in itself.
Yeah.
But towards the end of that, one of the things we discovered was that if you start looking at old computers, old PCs.
So your standard PC you'd have at
just
home?
Your standard PC you'd have at home.
Yeah.
We took them to pieces and we looked at the motherboards and we looked at the tape drives as they then had and disk drives. Yeah. And what we found was that a surprising number of places inside a computer where there are things that bacteria and fungi actually rather like.
Oh, lovely.
So we ended up, we put some agar plates over the fans on 1 or 2 PCs around the place and then incubated to see what would grow. And we found all sorts of rather nasty bacteria and fungi will actually appear in these. And they're not living on the integrated circuits, they're living on things like the adhesives and the insulation. We found labels had things growing on them. We found backup batteries which are joined together with an adhesive, and they were growing on the adhesive. They grow on the plasticizers in the PVC cables. And it was quite surprising just how good a source of microbiological life the inside of a computer can actually be if it's been around for a while.
And it's safe in the house, but if you're in a hospital or something?
Well, that was the environment that we got interested in, and we did actually do some work in the hospitals looking at what happens. And yeah, I mean, there is an issue about it's not a dramatically serious issue compared to some of the others. But you do rather encourage people to keep the things clean and check them out every now and again.
I mean, PCs on the whole don't last forever. People change them every 5 years. Should they change them more? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think not. But I think it probably doesn't do any harm to clean them out a bit more often. Apart from anything else, of course, they get clogged up with carpet dust and all sorts of other stuff.
And you could presumably spray them with something too.
I guess you could. Yes, we never got that. We never took it really that far. It was, to some extent, it was the tail end of an already finishing project, but it was kind of startling and surprising just to find out how much of an incubator a PC can be if you've got an environment that has, which in very all environments have microbiological activity. Microfungi and bacteria will grow on just about anything that has carbon in it and a source of oxygen.
And a bit of
As
heat.
you know, they'll even grow on the silicone insulation around your bathtub. They're very good at it.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.